granniopteryx, granniopteryx. She knows the truth, she's linking every link.
Hello, there are a couple of reasons why I'm using this particular illustration about the Somali car crasher. That is, it doesn't show anything, does it? There's a delivery van there, and there are a lot of people with prams and strollers and shopping carts and that sort of thing, and the front of Marks and Spencer's. That's so typically BBC, I thought it might interest you just to see this as an illustration of a horrific attack on ordinary people going about their daily business. But that's how the BBC likes to frame things. So this, to begin with, this is a criticism of the BBC. I'm just showing you how the BBC handles these things. Of course, also, it means that I'm going to get less trouble from YouTube. So I can't, I have to declare some sort of an interest in this myself. Right, so what happened here on this ordinary suburban street was that some man who happens to have been born in Somalia ploughed into a lot of pedestrians going about their everyday business. And I should think, because it was round about the shops, it would have been mostly women that were being, women and children who were being attacked, which is sort of pretty much part of a pattern of especially, I'm not suggesting for the moment that this is an attack of a Muslim who just doesn't like the way we live here in Britain, but what I am saying is it fits that pattern to go after women and children rather than men who can stand up and fight face to face. That is part of a pattern. But let's start at the beginning. He is described as a Somali, where is it? Somali-born British citizen. Now, a lot of people are writing underneath the various tweets on this, the X posts, that he's not British. He is Somali. He was born in Somalia. That makes him Somali. No, he's British. He has, if they say he is Somali-born and has British citizenship, that makes him British. He's not a Brit that I particularly would like to accept into my version of being British, but he is British. And all we can say about him is that he's British and Somali-born. And the Met is right there. And let's be thankful for small mercies. They are saying who he is. They are saying he's Somali-born. They are giving his name. Where's his name? Oh, ha! Well, the BBC don't give his name. I'm just going to look that up. Here. Oh, gosh, we've got a lot more stuff here, haven't we? 34-year-old Timir Ahmed Mohammed has been charged with 5 counts of attempted murder after driving his car into a group of people in Ealing Broadway. This clip here was uploaded by someone. You saw a policewoman in the frame just before. She was telling him to move on, and he was telling her that she couldn't tell him to move on. There you are. She says, you've got to stop, and he says no. Okay, so that's it. We've got his name here. Of course, the BBC doesn't give his name, but the Met have given his name, and they've said who he is, so they're not insulting us by saying he's a choir boy and then supplying a nice photo of him at 5 years old hugging a teddy bear or something like that. Okay, now next thing, first question is, how did he manage to get British citizenship? He is a British citizen. How did that happen? Who gave him citizenship and why? The second thing is, and again we can be thankful for small mercies, he has been charged with murder. Now, that's interesting in itself because it means there wasn't a mechanical failure in the car. That's always possible. Really, honestly. Okay, let's think. A Somali person might not have a lot of money, might have a car that's not very well maintained, and could have had some sort of a mechanical failure. You know, that's a possibility. But no, that didn't happen. They've charged him with murder. Also, he wasn't intoxicated. If he was intoxicated, then they would have charged him with driving under the influence of drink or drugs, causing death by driving under the influence, that sort of thing. No, murder. So it means that at once the police are saying that this is a deliberate act. And yet, on the other hand, very quickly they said it's probably not a terrorist attack, which is, as far as I'm concerned, a bit premature. If the police have found somebody who was driving a perfectly normally functioning car and was completely in possession of their faculties, and they drive into a bunch of pedestrians and they say it's murder, it means they believe it was deliberate. And if that's deliberate, then obviously it was a terror-related event. Whatever reason he might give later on, you know, somewhere in court he might say he was just angry because he ran out of phone credit, or the supermarket assistant wouldn't put out, or whatever. But even if he was just angry, I'd call it terrorist, because terrorism is the infliction of injury and fear on uninvolved people to satisfy a political or a personal agenda. It doesn't have to be political. So definitely this is terrorism. Now, I was put in mind of a recent video that's going out on X right now. It's called Citizen Vigilante, and it's been banned first of all, it was banned in Germany, and now it's banned all over Europe and in the UK. And it's the star is a chap called Armie, Armie Hammer. I thought, is that name for real? Yeah, his name is Armand. Or Armand, or however you pronounce it, and Hammer. He's a member of the family of the big oil multimillionaire. Anyway, so this guy called Armie Hammer is the star of the Citizen Vigilante, and he goes around shooting people who've done nasty crimes like rape or murder. Migrants, mostly. I honestly can't say I approve of the message of that film. Because when you're going around shooting people who've committed crimes, sometimes you will get innocent people that appear to have committed crimes and haven't. So you can't, you just shouldn't do that. But he does say something that I've been saying, so I can't disagree with that. Somewhere in the film he says it's not the nicest people who've come from Africa and the Middle East to Europe and the USA. Not the nicest people. And that's what I say. My way of putting it was that the people who make it here, they're the ones with the sharpest elbows, or they're the most aggressively mad, because they're the only ones who they will shove other people out of the dinghy to get space for themselves. So you're not going to get the nicest people here in general. And you can see that because of the number of military age men who are here as against the number of women hugging their babies. And I have heard of several instances where women were pitched overboard by the men in the dinghy. So, yeah, The nastiest, the most murderous, they're the ones most likely to be here. I'm not saying they're all psychopaths, but I should think a good deal of them are. So what do we say to that? Well, they shouldn't be here. We shouldn't allow them in, and if they are here, we shouldn't allow them to stay. I've said this before several times, and I'm not the only one, of course. And it really makes you wonder what our government is about, letting such people in. And then I can't get out of my mind a comment made by somebody under one of my previous videos. And he used to work in the Department of Work and Pensions or some such office. And one of his colleagues, a perfectly nice chap who came from Pakistani background, kept allowing people to get benefits when it was quite obvious that these people were cheating. So the guy who was writing said he would disqualify them and this Pakistani fellow would let them through. And he asked him about this. And this fellow, again, of Pakistani heritage, but most likely born in Britain, the comment he made was, "I'm going to bleed this country dry." He really hated this country, and he found a place he could work where he could actually tax the British people by allowing cheats to get money from them. Now, he can't be the only one, can he? So you wonder why the government is letting this psychopath through from Somalia. Well, maybe it was because it was somebody very similar to the Pakistani colleague of the of this person who made the comment under my video. And the ludicrous part of it is this: they're living here, they're bringing their children up here, and they want to destroy the place even as they are here in it. They want to bring the roof down while they're standing underneath it, which just shows you how stupid that man was or is. Somebody so poisoned by some sort of hatred that he's willing to wreck the house he's living in, just so that other people are under the wreck as well. It's almost beyond comprehension, and I think that's why such people are getting away with these things, because most people in Britain, most ordinary Brits, are unable to comprehend that there are people in the world so stupid and yet so filled with hatred that they are trying to wreck us, even though it means wrecking themselves and the future of their children as well. I've made a study of the Middle East, as some of you know, and I've seen this happening in Gaza. They could have had a wonderful place there, but they were prepared to go for the violent and destructive option, even though that meant violence and destruction on their own children, just so they could wreak violence and destruction on the Israelis, particularly on the Jews, actually. This is a mindset that most people in this country cannot comprehend. And as a matter of fact, even the Israelis couldn't comprehend it, because when they left Gaza in 2005, they left the greenhouses there and the factories or whatever they had there. And they thought, well, this is going to give the people there a boost. They're going to have a great life using this and building businesses. And they destroyed it all in hours. So even the Israelis don't understand it. So it's somewhat understandable that people here don't understand it either. Anyway, yeah, that's it. So this Somali, it's not that he's a psychopath. It's not that he's, I don't know what, destroyed lives, injured people, all the rest of it. It's that he's been let in by people who knew what they were doing. Okay, well, there you are. Till next time. You can help my channel by subscribing and clicking the notification bell. That's quite important. And by sharing if you're so inclined. Links to my other channels and to donation methods are in the description. But the best way you can help is simply by clicking like and notify. Thank you.